Let's talk for a second about the difference between lists and dreams. There is a scene in Wonderfalls, which was a one-season creation by Tim Minear. They always seem to do one-hit wonders. Firefly is his and Joss's biggest one-hit wonder, huge underground cult following. So, little preface to what Wonderfalls is, where Miss Prom Queen Chick is describing her husband to this guy who's been in love with her since high school. And it's now 6.5 years post high school. She moved the reunion up early because she wanted everyone to see that she'd married her perfect man. And she was describing this man to the man who was in love with her and had been forever, but didn't do anything about it. And he said, "So you married the man of your dreams?" She said, "No, I married the man of my list." Yeah, there's a huge difference between lists and dreams. And I never quite know where my line falls. In fact, one of my books that I published, that I need to republish because the publisher went out of business and the people who have the very few copies now are calling it rare and trying to get like thousands of dollars for it. But I will republish List of Dreams. It's a poetry book. And I spent my entire life serving God. Serving a God I no longer even believe in. And now I regret that life. I wish I'd lived a little. A lot of my poems are about drugs and sex and rock and roll because I was in college and they were supposed to be cliche. In fact, one is even titled Cliche. A lot of my poems are about sex because I wanted to know what that life was like. I was a virgin until my 30s. A few of my poems were about drugs and fights because I wanted to know what that life was like. Because I felt like I hadn't lived. And then I got multiple sclerosis and fibromyalgia, and now I feel like I'm on my way out. Like I started dying before I started living. So I have my lists, and I have my dreams, and I have my list of dreams. And I think about that when I think of if my heart isn't entirely closed off, and if I will ever allow it to open again enough to love, and if I will ever allow it to open enough to be loved. I don't believe I've ever allowed that. And I had my list. And I made very sure to stay to do what I wanted to do on the list that I had created for him. Because what would put me a cut above the rest? If I wanted some amazing Superman, who did I expect to be? I couldn't expect some ripped hunk when I'm not, but I could expect him to be attractive. I could expect him to be active, to hold down jobs, and a college degree was of utmost importance to me. That I had it? That he had it? Now? I'm not so sure. It's not the financial investment it was in our parents' generation. The only reason I don't have $100,000 in student loans is because I'm totally and permanently disabled. Silver lining, huh? I'm not entirely convinced that a college degree is that amazing. I hate when people say it's just a piece of paper, because so is money. It's so much more than a piece of paper. Unless you got it and didn't care what it was in and just got it so that you could get a job. Unless you were taught by baby boomers that you needed a degree in anything and then you could get a job in something, get a career. That's what my bachelor's was. And I had a great time in college, and I loved it, and I'd do it again. But I think my bachelor's was just a piece of paper, even though I worked my ass off for it. My master's meant more to me, and it damn near killed me. But now I don't need him to have one. I just need him to be intelligent, and education and intelligence are not synonymous. I know plenty of professors who are complete dumbasses. My own, for example. A lipstick? Yeah, I do. Okay. And I know plenty of high school dropout. Well, I know of plenty of high school dropouts who are intelligent. I know of even more college dropouts who are intelligent. Especially if they dropped out of Harvard. So, I no longer have a list for if he exists, but I'm no longer convinced I have a dream for it either.